A lot of times people ask us, what is our approach to health? And we have basically a 5-prong process that's designed to give us this complete or total wellness or total health or total best optimal lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. It's the ability to do what you want to do without pain and have a good joy about it. So the first section is lifestyle. Now, lifestyle is going to include the following things. It's going to include what we eat, what we do, how we manage life and stuff like that, sleep, all of that kind of stuff. And so we're going to spend a lot of time in that because lifestyle, as we've said many times, is about 85% of your long-term outcome. And the greatest medical decision you make is where, Dr. Michelle?
At the end of your fork.
Pretty cool. So you can tweet that one anytime. So that's lifestyle. That's number 1.
Number 2 is genetics. And we use a very special DNA panel that evaluates things that affect your long-term health. We look at things like lipid metabolism, sugar metabolism, inflammation. We look at detoxification, methylation, the VDR receptor, which can tell you about your bone health. We get in detail about what kind of nutritional protocol is going to be appropriate for you. Yes, you. Then we take a really deep dive into a sports section that tells us about injury risk, recovery rate. It tells us whether or not you're more of a power person, an endurance person, or you got a mixed bag of tricks going on. So from our perspective, it really helps us design a personalized lifestyle plan that's going to benefit you for the rest of your life.
So we talked about lifestyle. The genes help us determine the best lifestyle. Now we have to talk about how do you know you're doing a good job? The next section is measurables. We measure things. We have to ask the right questions. Conventional labs don't do that. So we actually have really unique proprietary labs that we put together, our panels, that measure whether we're having good success with lifestyle and genetics, that sort of downstream effect of the genes expressing themselves. We also measure not just with blood work, we measure in our waist size or our body fat composition. So we want to make sure your composition of your body fat is in line and it's optimal. You don't have extra fat tissue on the frame because that can be inflammatory. And finally, how do you feel? How are you sleeping? How are you doing? How are you really feeling about life in general? All these things matter, and probably the main one of those measurables is how are you really doing? I think that's the key thing, but you have to measure the right things, and so we take a lot of effort into these procedures we have through blood work. We have some other machines that we'll do. One is called a plethysmography machine. We'll look at the heart valve pressure, so how's our vascular system doing? But we have a lot of things like that we use, but we're asking the right questions, so we want to give you a scorecard because we want to hit the bullseye. Every time you do a test, you want to make an A. Every time you throw a dart, you want to hit the bullseye or what you're shooting at. So this tells you what you're shooting at and how are you doing in that process of reaching those goals.
The next section we cover is hormones. We want to get you optimal, and your body makes a lot of different hormones, from thyroid hormone to adrenal hormone, cortisol, leptin, and male and female sex hormones. These hormones act in your body kind of like emails. They're sent out from these glands and they're sent to tissues. And when they're hitting the tissues, the receptors on the cells answer the emails. But if your body is out of balance or it's all junked up with the standard American diet, all kinds of stress, sitting and not being active, guess what? Your body can't hear those hormones. And sometimes things get a little bit intense and hormones get out of balance. Also, for every passing year, hormones decline. So we want to analyze what your baseline is, where you're at, so we can get you to your optimal by optimizing each and every one of your individual hormones.
And over the top of that 4-prong, we have a 5th prong, which is this. We have a proven strategy that's based upon principles. And in our case, we don't shy away from it. They're biblical principles that work. Everything that falls underneath those principles has got to be in line with, if you do this, this is what you can expect. It's about a choice versus consequences thing. There's things that just work. And so our proven strategy has been 100% successful when people just do it. So that sits right over the top of everything, because if it doesn't fit that principle, if it gets outside of those bounds, either morally or ethically, we're not going to do it. It doesn't work. So all these things fit together nicely in this. It's almost like a fistful of power. We have this lifestyle, this genetics, this hormone, this measurables, and this proven lifestyle that gives you power in life to do what you want to do and have that best lifestyle. So That's what we do. We cover all those principles, and when you come into our clinic, you're going to know flat out that we give attention in equal matter to every one of those things, and that's important.
I want power, don't you?